In the midst of a constantly shifting global political landscape, have you ever wondered if the world is on the brink of a significant geopolitical shift? It's an intriguing thought, isn't it? This scene will delve into this very question, dissecting the current political climate and the tensions between major world powers that could potentially reshape the world as we know it. Let's begin with the two countries that often find themselves at the center of such discussions, Russia and China. Speculations are rife about these nations becoming alternative poles of power, challenging the current global order. But hold on to your horses, because the reality might be a bit different. The notion of Russia emerging as a formidable alternative pole of power might seem plausible. However, a closer look at their economic capabilities and infrastructure paints a different picture. Russia's economy, as it stands, lacks the muscle to support such a position. Their technological system has been found wanting, and their demographic situation is far from encouraging. Hence, a significant shift in the balance of power in favor of Russia seems unlikely, at least in the foreseeable future. Turning our attention to China, the story is somewhat similar. Yes, China is a massive exporter, but this very fact is a double-edged sword. By being heavily reliant on exports, China needs markets to offload their products. This dynamic doesn't allow for a healthy partnership with other countries, as they tend to become either a dumping ground for Chinese goods or a source of raw materials. It's a dream scenario for many, America providing the security and China driving the economy. But this dream might be too good to be true. The Chinese moment of global domination is nearing its end thanks to their demographic challenges. While these scenarios might seem plausible on the surface, a deeper dive into the economic and demographic realities of these nations tells a different story. So, before we jump to conclusions about the impending geopolitical shift, let's remember that the devil is often in the details. When it comes to Russia, the country's capabilities and limitations paint a unique picture. On one hand, there's a nation striving for influence and power, yet on the other, there's a country grappling with an array of challenges that stifle its potential. Let's pull back the curtain on the Russian dilemma. We begin with the country's economic situation. Despite its vast natural resources, Russia's economy struggles to keep pace with the world. It's a system that lacks the robustness and resilience needed to support a global power. Its infrastructure, too, is not up to par. From crumbling roads to outdated technologies, the shortcomings are apparent and significant. And then there's the issue of demographics. Russia's population is aging and birth rates are declining. This demographic shift poses a serious threat to the country's future economic growth and societal stability. It's a ticking time bomb, and one that can't be diffused easily. Now let's turn our attention to the Ukraine war, a conflict that has put Russia in the spotlight. Despite its military might, Russia has not managed to secure a decisive victory or gain meaningful support. In fact, the war has exposed Russia's limitations rather than its strengths. It's a costly endeavor that has strained Russia's resources and tarnished its global image. But why does Russia persist? The answer lies in the quest for an outer crustal defense. It's a strategy to establish a buffer zone of friendly or at least non-hostile nations around its borders. However, this ambition is proving to be a tough nut to crack. The Ukraine war is a clear demonstration of the challenges Russia faces in achieving this goal. So, where does this leave Russia? It's a nation caught in a conundrum. It aspires to be a standalone power, but the road is strewn with obstacles. Its economy, infrastructure, and demographic issues are significant hurdles. The stakes are high, and the path ahead is uncertain. For Russia, the stakes are high, but the road to becoming an independent pole is fraught with challenges. On the other side of the world, China presents a different yet equally complex situation. The Dragon Nation has grown into a colossal economic powerhouse, largely riding on the back of its export-heavy economy. This massive scale of export means China needs markets, large and hungry markets, to absorb its flood of goods. But this dependence on external markets is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it has fueled China's rapid growth, but on the other, it has left the country vulnerable to fluctuations in global demand and trade policies. And there's another aspect to consider. The sheer volume of China's production can potentially turn other countries into mere dumping grounds for its goods, or at best, a source of raw materials. This is not a partnership where both sides flourish. Instead, the importing countries often find their local industries struggling to compete with cheap Chinese goods and their raw materials getting depleted to feed China's production. The dream situation for many countries would have been a world where the Americans provide the security and the Chinese provide the economic access. But this is a dream that seems unlikely to manifest. And then, there's the ticking time bomb of China's demographic challenges. The country's one-child policy, which lasted for more than 3 decades, has led to an aging population. This means fewer young workers to power its factories and more elderly people to support, a scenario that could significantly slow down China's economic engine in the coming years. So while China's economic might is undeniable, its reliance on external markets and looming demographic challenges put a question mark on its ability to sustain its current trajectory. The Chinese moment in the global spotlight might be nearing its dusk, not because of an imminent hot war or even a prolonged Cold War, but due to these internal challenges and dependencies. While China's economic might is undeniable, its reliance on external markets and looming demographic challenges put a question mark on its ability to sustain its current trajectory. Amidst these complexities, the West's strategic position becomes increasingly crucial. Let's delve into the West's strategy in this global political theater. A central goal of the West is to support Ukraine. Why? Because as long as Ukraine is in the fight, as long as Ukraine remains independent, Russia is kept on its toes, constantly on the strategic defensive. This goal, however, is not just about keeping Russia in check, it's about shaping the global political climate, about influencing the balance of power. Now, you might wonder, why Ukraine? Why is this Eastern European nation so significant? Well, Ukraine is a crucial buffer. It's a bulwark that prevents Russia from establishing an outer crustal defense. It's a piece of the geopolitical puzzle that, if controlled by Russia, could dramatically shift the balance of power in their favor. But the West's support for Ukraine doesn't come without challenges. It's a delicate balancing act. Too much interference could escalate tensions, potentially sparking a larger conflict. Too little support and Ukraine could fall under Russian influence, altering the strategic landscape. The stakes are high, and this is not just about the West and Russia, it's about the global order. It's about the dynamics between major powers, about alliances and partnerships, about the pursuit of national interests in a complex and interconnected world. This strategy also has potential implications for other regions. The Middle East, for instance, could see a shift in alliances as countries assess their strategic interests in light of the West's stance on Ukraine. Asia, too, could experience shifts as China navigates its role in this evolving geopolitical landscape. In this intricate game of chess, every move counts. Every strategic decision has ripple effects, shaping the global political landscape in ways we may not fully comprehend until years down the line. But one thing is clear. The West's support for Ukraine is a significant move, one that could have far-reaching implications for the future of global politics. In this game of chess, every move counts, and the West's support for Ukraine could significantly shape the geopolitical landscape. However, the changing nature of global security presents new challenges and uncertainties. The world has been witnessing a significant shift in the paradigm of defense and security. The United States, once the undisputed guardian of global waters with a navy built for worldwide coverage, is now transitioning to a force less concentrated on destroyer-heavy fleets. This shift is not merely a strategic change, it is a reflection of a new era of global security dynamics. To illustrate this shift, let's take a look at recent incidents in the Persian Gulf. The Persian Gulf, a vital artery of global trade and energy, has seen an increase in volatility. The Iranian Navy has seized half a dozen tankers, a move that would have been met with a robust response in the past. However, aside from issuing press releases, the U.S. Navy has taken no decisive action, a stark contrast to the 70s or 80s when similar actions would have resulted in the sinking of several Iranian naval assets, maybe even a few offshore oil platforms. This shift from a destroyer-heavy force isn't just a change in military strategy, it's a symbol of a larger shift in global security. The United States, which once subsidized the world's security systems and provided global naval coverage, is changing its approach. The implications of this are profound. It means that the responsibility of maintaining global security is shifting. creating a more multipolar world where different nations have to shoulder the burden of their own defense. These changes are not without their challenges. The new dynamics of global security present uncertainties and potential conflicts. Countries that have relied on the security umbrella of the U.S. Navy may now find themselves needing to reassess their security strategies. The global political climate is shifting, and with it, the rules of engagement are being rewritten. With the world's security systems undergoing significant transformations, the future of the global political climate remains an open question.